Moving over to the other team in Southern California, obviously the Chargers are. You went to the one day of camp, and I've noticed them. I mean, there's the injuries are starting to kind of get to them a little bit. They have some defensive linemen that are hurt. There's an illness, like some illness
Yeah,
bug.
every time I see a tweet, man, like somebody's sick the next day. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, so I don't know what's going, but like it's only affecting star players, I guess. So I better be careful because it could affect me next. But it's Quentin Johnston, it's Rashawn Slater, it's Gerald Everett, and
Sebastian?
it's
Oh, for a sickness
no
on?
Joey Bosa. Joey
Oh.
Bosa. Sebastian has a quad injury, but it's funny because Gerald got into it with Kenneth Murray, and since he got into it, that we haven't seen him. So, yeah, it's just been interesting. But this often changes when those guys aren't in there. I mean, three of your offensive weapons aren't there. Well, two of them, and then obviously your left tackle. So they did have a rough go of it Sunday during the scrimmage. When they got Justin in a 2 minute, dude, that guy. It's like they had been playing kind of bad. The defense kind of taking advantage of them during the scrimmage. And it's like as soon as they got in the 2 minute offense, it's like Justin turned it on and he was finding all kinds of guys. By the way, so you know how it is during training camp. Like you ask coaches, hey, what do you think of this player? What do you think of that player? And this and that. And you know they'll answer and they'll be like, oh, they're doing everything that's asked of them. They're doing well. So Trey McKitty catches and I'm talking about the third string tight end. Trey McKitty catches a pass. He was a third round pick, by the way. He catches the pass to set up the field goal, and they kick the field goal to win. So I asked Brandon. I'm like, hey, Brandon. So obviously, Trey did okay for you guys your first year. Second year, it's like he fell off a little bit. And he's like, this is a big camp for Trey. He's like, this is boom, like do or die. But he basically said like, this is do or die. I was like, oh wow. He's like, we need to see much more improvement from him. And I was like, oh whoa. I was like, okay. So there you go. So he needs to improve. But there's been some good from the Chargers. Thule, I'm not going to butcher his last name. Thule, the outside line, but the pass rusher from. By the way, the other day I put pass rushers Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack a picture. Some idiot on Twitter goes, I hate when people put pass rushers because then it takes away what they do. They can stop the run as well. I was like, dude, like you
So,
are
so what
a
does he want to
human that
call
doesn't
them?
deserve to be on this earth. Edge rusher, which I was like, get out of town, dude. I called him a
That
pass
means they
rusher.
do more, apparently, I guess.
I guess so, but it diminishes what they do. I'm like, oh, dude, you know where you
Also,
can
the
go.
same thing with edge rusher. That means they just stand on the edge and they move them all over the
Exactly.
defensive line, right?
Exactly. And I have actually have a. I'm working on a big story right now on Joey and Khalil gained 20 pounds each during the off season. So that'll be coming out probably in the next 2 or 3 days. I'm doing a story on them and them gaining weight and what it means. And Khalil wasn't too happy that Joey told us that he had gained a couple pounds. So
Uh,
it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, obviously Khalil Mack, man, him and Rashawn Slater have been having some battles. Like it's fun to watch. Khalil still got some juice in him. So for people who think he might be done, I think he saw some juice, especially adding that weight. And then obviously Rashawn Slater told us, hey, I could tell Joey right away gained weight. And then like, really how? He's like, as soon as he put his hands on me, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what is going on? So yeah, so the pass rush seems like it's there. Obviously Derwin's there. Eric Kendricks is a big a person that a lot of people are talking about. Gilbert, one guy that I think stood out when you were there was number 26, Asante Samuel Jr. Stood out. What did you see from him?
yeah, man. Like I think the day started like with him getting beat a couple times, and then he just quickly like short memory, and he bounces back, and he's such a feisty competitor. And like I think there was that play towards the end of practice where he batted the ball away from Mike Williams. I'm like, let me do the math
Yeah.
here. He's like 5'9", 5'10". Mike Williams is 6'4". Like, you're giving up 6 inches, and you're that aggressive, and you're in the way. Make life harder for the wide receivers, man. And then they started doing push-ups, right? So, and it's a good sign because
He's
like
he hates it, but he's like it. He is so much like his dad. It's nuts.
yeah,
I remember watching his dad was so special, so underrated. I don't know if he's gold jacket worthy. Well, if the numbers speak for themselves, and he won Super Bowls on those teams, but man, his dad was something else.
He definitely picked it up because he's an aggressive, not too aggressive
Yeah,
where it hurts him, but like yeah, he doesn't back down to competition level. And he always views himself at the top, and it was a good sign, an encouraging sign. Because remember Fernando last year, like when Michael Davis and Asante picked it up, after J.C. Jackson went down, it really helped out this team. But I'm like, could that be like a fluky month or two? And then they need J.C. Jackson, and then he's like slowly coming back from his injury, and like they still need Asante and Michael to play that way. So to see Asante playing at that level, it's a good sign, and it's a big year 3 for him. And yeah, I don't know if I've been away from the team for so long, but I just stand there thinking like, man, they got a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball. I know the defense gonna
they
be,
do.
they have ways to go, but when I saw
Can they
Josh
stay
Palmer,
healthy?
they can't stay healthy. But when I saw Josh Palmer
Yeah,
and make that, I think that was over Asante. That kind of tells you how the back and forth was
yeah.
going. I'm like, man, that's 4 wide receivers right there. And I know the tight ends are a little weak there. The offensive line should be good again. Uh, yeah, I still can't believe we're in a world where Trey Pickens just flat out developed. I guess when I was gone. But yeah, and then obviously you got the court, and then the Kellen Moore offense, man. Like you could tell they're gonna. I'm not saying they're gonna go take deep shots, but they're gonna use more parts of the field, and that's what I noticed. That he kept going to the left side, right side, inside, and to the and then I noticed when Justin Herbert, he was playing so much faster. He will, with knowing the protections, the calls, and then kind of doing some audibles, and he wasn't afraid to go to an inexperienced guy. I kept telling him, "Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Why is Trey McKitty getting a couple targets?" I think Justin Herbert was like, you know what? If I like to play, if I like the matchup, I'm going to you. And I think that's a good trait to have when you trust your players, and it grows confidence in them.
It's funny, Gilbert. I asked Justin on Sunday after the practice. I asked him, Justin, is what's happened last year when you didn't have Keenan, you didn't have Mike. Do you feel like that's the reason why you're working out with so many different guys? He's like, that's exactly the reason. He's like, at one point, one of these guys might have to step up. And what if I don't have chemistry with them? I have to build chemistry with everybody. You saw, Gilbert, at one point you asked me, like, is Justin still out there with the three? Like, I think he was out there with the threes or whatever. And I remember you were like, whoa. And I'm like, well, that's just so that he can get cohesion with everybody. And you could tell he was scarred off of that, where he had Josh Palmer, Michael Bandy, and I can't remember. DeAndre Carter. So you could tell Justin is trying to practice that and get there. But yeah, we talked about it. The health is the interesting part. If they can stay, and what if they can stay healthy, I feel like this team could be dangerous. But that's huge. That's what's going to be huge. And then obviously you need to start off hot because you have a favorable schedule at the beginning. You need to take advantage of it. If you can go into that game against the Week 9 against the New York Jets, that Monday night game, if you can go in there 6-2, 5-3, you're sitting pretty. But that back end, Gilbert, that back end's a gauntlet. You have Denver twice. And I know I'm not a big. I don't think he'll be playing. They'll be playing Russell Wilson by the end of the season. I just think he'll.
It'll be better by then.
I think he'll be benched by then. But all I keep on hearing from Broncos practice is that the defense keeps on dominating. But I'm like, I heard somebody say he looks like the Russell Wilson of last year, and I'm like, so who is Sean Payton gonna bitch at after Russell Wilson has a bad year? Is he going to look at himself and be like, this is the worst head coaching job I've ever seen? So I don't know, but I'm interested to see. That's why I'm glad that you're going. I want to see what you see from Team 3. But yeah, so obviously Chargers was interesting. You got to do your whole tour, so that's awesome. I've been doing some Padres stuff as well. So I've actually Manny Machado actually kind of likes me, I think. So that's a pretty cool sign. He was chatting it up with me the other day, and I asked him, what kind of quarterback were you? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, were you a Patrick Mahomes when you played in high school? He's like, nah. He's like, that guy's a different cat. And I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, but I love watching him, Herbert, and Josh Allen play. I'm like, yeah, I know. All three of them are unique in their own way. Oh, no, he said Burrow. No.
Bring him on the podcast.
I'll try. Yeah, that's for next time.